Good morning, sir. I
Good
welcome you
morning.
especially to this meeting. Thank you so much for honoring this meeting. Then, sir, most of the people that will be watching this may or may not know you. So please, can we get to know you?
Well, my name is Amogu. I read architecture, and by the grace of God, I'm practicing it too. I'm a fellow of the Institute, Nigerian Institute of Architects, and I graduated from the Imo State University, then now Abia State University. I left school 1990. And then since then, I've been practicing the word, meeting people, old, young, and then in family, I have my children and my wife, 4 children. And I just like to laugh. I like to make myself happy. And I like to be in the midst of very happy people. And, the prettier, the better.
That's good. Thank you, sir. Thank you
Yo.
for honoring this session. So, sir, to get right into the question, the first question is, why, actually, first of all, these questions were asked by students, graduates, associates, different levels of persons in the profession to know more about what's going on in the profession and how best to maximize the profession. So the first question is, why not induct and certify student members during 200 level design presentation, graduate members at 400 level defense, and associates at MSc final defense, then finishing school for full registration?
If I get that question, you mean induct them into the institute?
Yes.
Well, that's a suggestion, and then that's a suggestion that will be, these are things we want you to always present to council, to your chapters. If you're in an institution, wherever you are, there must be a chapter there where you can always, you can always interact with them and if there are complaints, because most of the chapters oversee the institutions within their domain. So we have a national body, but this national body cannot be everywhere. It is you all and us all that make up that national body. And the information that, these are the ways to relay information. One, through your chapters. Once it gets to the chapters, definitely to get to the national body and it will look at if it is something that cannot be dealt with at the chapter level. But this is a very good suggestion, and I think the institute will be happy to look at that. But then above all, today, just to make it easier, where the institute is also trying to make things easier, much easier for everybody. Everybody from students to graduate members to associate members to full members to fellows, everybody. And that is why today things have gone paperless. It is easy for you to register. Because when you register, wherever you register, you're a member. You can register from everywhere and anywhere. You don't need to fill any form, download any form to write anything. The platform will soon be ready. You just go on the line online and register, and then verifications can be done if you're a student through your HOD, if you're a worker through, there you see a list of where you can get you verified.
Okay.
Your data, the data you inputted verified. So it's not a problem. You don't even have to get up from your seat to be a registered member and be known and participate in institute activities. Inductions will just be secondary, but you are participating in institute activities at every point in time in your life as a student, as an architect,
Okay. Thank you, sir, for that answer.
Yeah.
Then the next question is, someone else suggested, I want the NIA and ACON to really work on the internship system in every state in Nigeria in a way that every architecture student will learn and earn during their internship period with any firm, and also work in such a way that the firm will be available to any interested student.
That's a very good suggestion too, and I'll tell you something about what practice is now. When the economy everywhere in the world, when the economy is down, the first sector that is affected is our sector. Because people our sector is the sector that combines the best in technology, the best in art, and it's a meeting point of art and technology. And when people are still struggling to satisfy basic physiological needs, that the architect becomes secondary or even tertiary in some cases. And so the way it is in Nigeria, the economy is really, really down. And it is affecting practices. It's affecting, in fact, offices are starting and closing, and they're re-engineering even the way offices operate now. Because you have your devices. Offices are not even, in those days, when we were younger, we would go to offices, we were about 100 of us, 50 of us, 30 of us in the office. But it cannot happen again. It doesn't happen again these days. And these things are sometimes outsourced unless you have a real big project where, and even when you have big projects, now people are working online, people are working on teamwork. If you're using Graphisoft, that's teamwork, and you don't even have to come to the office at all. You can be in Australia, the other guy will be in Argentina, and you'll be working on the same project. So that is it. So practice in Nigeria is, unfortunately, it's affected by the economy. And so even offices and firms that are desirous of, bringing in people on internship really don't even have the space. In fact, some people don't even have the space for it, and then when the students come or the interns come, there are no live projects. I mean, if you come into a firm and every morning you come in, you sit down and you're not doing live projects, you don't really have much to gain. And so that is the situation now. And so even if ACON or NIA begins to force people to office, I call it force people to offices, it's not going to be of use, because even today, when corpers are posted to some offices, they're rejected. Unfortunately, that is the truth. And so because people don't want to engage people they are not going to be able to remunerate, or you don't have, you are too ashamed to say you don't have a job to offer. So that is the real situation. But what you suggested is very key, and I can even extend it now. We are even we're even talking to NYSC, to see that we didn't start today actually. We go to NYSC and say, please make sure that you post architects to where they can get enough experience so that it becomes part of their internship, part of the two-year tutorial for them to get their licenses. And there's no way to put people to. Firms, my firm, what we do, we normally go to NYSC and request. We request for 1 or 2 architects. I know firms that used to do that, they can't do it anymore because they cannot even afford the space or the conditions to make these people, so that is that's the real situation, and it's unfortunate, but I know that things are going to, we are optimistic that things will improve, and when things improve, who does not want to have young people around him? There's no architect, none I know, that doesn't want to have young people around, to make the ginger the office. There's nothing as lovely as working in an office where a lot of people are there, all manners of characters, it just makes the work environment nice. But the reality is, at the end of the month, you have to also consider that guy has to pay transport, he has to feed himself, he has to clothe himself, and so that's you have to reconcile the two. And how many young ones are ready to say, okay, let me just be coming to the office. Some people do it to us. They say, let me just be coming to the office. Even if I don't get anything, just let me get the experience. Some people do that. And when we have sites, we engage. I know that in those days, even MDAs like FCDA, Works and How, they used to engage what they call project staff. Now, there are hardly any projects to even have project staff. So that's it. That's the situation with our profession. But we're just hoping that things will, get better.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Thank you, sir.
I hope I dealt with that question properly.
Yes, you
If
did.
if you think there's something else you want to hear, just tell me.
Okay. Although
we ask it.
Someone else asked, but is the same. It's almost in the same line with what you've explained.
Go ahead. Yeah.
The person said, why is it that during NYSC, graduates of architecture are posted to teach instead of being posted to firms or organizations for post-study training?
That's exactly, I just tried to mention it when I was talking. I said, yes, we're worried about that. In fact, I know now that the institute has scheduled to pay a courtesy visit to NYSC. I know that this one is going to happen within the next maybe 1 or 2 weeks. And they talk to the DG and so on and so forth. We normally do that. We request that. But what I'm telling you is that even when they post you to some firms, see, these firms are not capable of absorbing. You can say, yes, post them to their office and they'll just be collecting their allowance. Well, so fair enough. But the general situation is that the jobs are, not really there. The economy is down. Let me just use that word, And by the way, the economy starts to pick up, this is you need to even ask the firms who go to NYSC and request for compass. You understand? So they also think that sometimes don't blame them because they post architects and they are rejected. Honestly, and so they'll have to repost them again. And so when you have that experience once or twice, what you just do is that, okay, I know that schools need people in the science and technology sector. Let's just post the architects there. That's just what happens. I know that it is not, they don't deliberately or out of the way want to post people to where they won't be useful. It's just that most times, where they post them to, they are rejected. You understand? But you see, we're all also talking about that. We say, even if we're asking firms not to reject these architects, we're asking ministries, MDAs, don't reject these people. Let them be there. Let them do, but they'll tell you, what are they going to do? So because of the depth of projects, that is the reason why it looks as if we are the ones suffering it the most. But like I said, we are looking forward. We think that we have gone with this is the barest minimum. Every other thing we're going to be going up. We're going to be going up. Things are going to improve, really. I know that. I'm optimistic about that, yes.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I hope that things get better and better in your profession.
Yeah, it will.
The next question is, there has been a controversy between those that studied architecture in the Polytechnic. What are the processes involved in becoming a registered architect in Nigeria through the Polytechnic sector?
This has been a big challenge. Yes. It didn't start today. It's been there, because institutions, the way architecture is structured, or the way the construction industry is structured is so that you have cadres of architects, cadres of graduates are turned out to take care of certain aspects of the profession. That's how it used to be. And that is why even the entry qualifications for these categories are different. The entry qualification for this person who is going to get an HND was different from the entry qualification of somebody who is going to get an OND, or somebody who is going to get BTech, or somebody going to get BSc. They're different. that is how the curriculum is supposed to be different. And that's why, and each of them make up a strata of the chain, of the delivery chain for architecture. And so it is where people are having problems with this, because a lot of people are thinking of formal employments, going to work in ministries where you have a structured salary scale. Do you understand what I'm saying? Now, why am I saying this? In firms, there are some firms that as your firms grow, you begin to need certain specialists. And those specialists, you come, you interview them and employ them. You're employing them. It's not necessarily the degree they have. It is what they're going to offer you. That's happened. There are people who are very good at, they are trained to be able to reconcile your drawings with reality. They're who are trained to be able to interpret those drawings to reality. There's a cadre that is supposed to do the dreaming. There's a cadre that is supposed to do the production, you know. And all these ones they're on different strata. You can say practices in Nigeria, somebody just sits down, opens one office and does everything. That's why the quality of our works are not as good as it should be. So, and each of these ones are as important as the other. You can't imagine everybody who's be a graduate of architecture to have only run the curriculum of a BSc, MSc. I'm talking from my own, now for the official perspective. And then where I used to do my IT when I was a young person, we had this man who was, I think he did just City and Guilds, you know, but he was the second highest paid person in the office. Why? Because he was a detailer. He was so good at detailing. And he just did City and he didn't even have a degree, didn't have HND, didn't have, you know. And the office felt that this guy was important in the office. And they put him on that salary scale. And he used to go for workshops abroad. I'm telling you. And so, and that is how, that's the practical reason. And in practice, when people come and say, we want you to employ us, or we want to work in your firm, you're not interested in the degree. You're interested in what the person can do. What can he do? Where is he good at? Is he good at working drawings? Is he good at conception? Is he good at marketing? Is he good at site? That's what they're interested in. And so, and these things, the strata, these things happens, and the curriculum for each of them. That's why the curriculum each one is different. There's none that is not important. What is happening now is that everybody wants to be up there, you know, or rather, not be up there. Everybody should aspire to, be the best, but you don't have to. The person that had an HND, there's something. Okay, let me give you an instance now. The person that won the last Pritzker Prize in architecture, you know, he went to a school of Ikere, yeah. You know, in UC High School, he was like more of technology, was more of a handsome person. And that's why he's different. He's not the dreamer kind of person. It was a practical architect. I don't know how to put it. I know, in Germany, the way their curriculum is, they encourage things like that. They encourage those aspects. And it doesn't stop them from, it doesn't stop you from reaching the top of the profession. I'm hoping that we're not going to scrap HND. But HND and BSc are not the same at all. That's just the long and short, because the curriculum are different. They are supposed to do different things in society. And so if an ACON, well, I'm not ACON. ACON is our supervising body. And these pressures have made it so that they say, okay, for me to register you to have this category of registration, you must have BSc, and then do MSc, and then have the 2 years. You know, all that. It's in the wisdom of ACON. And they might have seen some more things that I've seen. And they decided, okay, if you want to register that way, that's it. But I know that they used to have finance 1, finance 2, that I know there were steps to get to the level of the registration level. But now I think what they want to do now is say anybody who wants to get the registration has to have a BSc, yes. So it means that it's going to be longer for the person who came in with the HND than the person who came with BSc. That's all the difference. Just like you have people who how they register medical doctors. You have to do this first MBA, second MBA, and so on, and get to that level with. So if you come in as a nurse, you will finish your and then go and read medicine. I mean, what I'm saying that there's a straight channel and a curriculum for people who want to get that paper qualification, then to practice. But in reality, in reality, in every firm, for every good firm, you need everybody there. And the way you're remunerated doesn't matter how you come in. It depends on what your input in the firm. And that's what I'm trying to, promote. That whatever it is, you know it very well, be very good at it. It does not guarantee that, I mean, that if somebody has a BSc or an MSc, it becomes a better person than but it becomes more useful in a firm than somebody who has an HND. It's not guaranteed because a firm might be the talent of the HND that he needs more. And you get my point. So everybody doesn't have to be. We don't have to abandon that aspect or that cadre of the profession. We don't need to abandon it. That's my because everybody now is tending to. Everybody's not going to be employed in the civil service because the civil service cadre, for instance, you have maybe with this degree you don't have to. You can't cross this salary level grade. You can't become a director, or those things begin to matter. But how many of us are going to be employed in civil service? And so that's the truth. And in real time, it's outside. It's outside. It's the practice. It is the profession itself. Because even in the MDAs, you're only doing policy. It's policy implementation, administration that you're doing, really. So that's at what level are they going to employ me? Those things vary from firms. There are some firms that will come and see, look, this is you we will need, and you negotiate your salary or your remuneration. That's the point I want to make. So whatever it is you are, at whatever level, be very good at it. I tell you, people who write the programs, people who do the productions, people who they're not those architects. It's not those ones who did BSc. No. It is these ones because they are the hands-on people. They're the ones who can even write the programs. Oh, this is what you want to, this is your dream. No. Revit can handle it. No. ArchiCAD can handle it. You can write the program that will do it. Things like that. That's where you should be. That's where you should be. And so everybody becomes important in bringing up. But let's for the fun now. Let us get this project. Get the project starts coming out, and then we see how important everybody is in a firm, in the production of in the value chain for architecture.
Okay.
So that's to just summarize it. That's the what Akon has said. I think that was 2001 that you need to get your BSc, and then that still stays. It's still that's what's what we are now trying to do is trying to negotiate a point where there'll be a moratorium for some people,
Okay.
and then maybe after some time it will be scrapped completely. That is there. But even for me, I don't even want it to be scrapped. But it looks as if it is where it's heading to. That degree or that qualification will be scrapped. But unfortunately, if that happens.
Yeah. Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah, and even to add, and that means also that in a way, if that happens, it means that you will not need to offer it again in polytechnics. It means that the courses will not be offered in polytechnics anymore. And so nobody who wants to read architecture will now have to go to a proper institution that's offering architecture.
Okay.
Then the thing, or you said something about the finishing school. That's still in the pipeline. We were considering it. It's seriously being considered. And one of the things that's delaying it is the constitution of the board, the ACON board. I don't want to say it is the rancor that's been happening, but there were some hiccups a few months, a few years ago, and those hiccups are stopping. They're stopped. So we're trying to reconstitute the board for that ACON starts operating properly, and some of these things you just talked about will now come on board. Everybody is worried. Everybody is concerned about finishing school too. Yeah.
Okay. So, but then someone else asked, currently, HND graduates in the field of architecture are denied any form of recognition except they get a BSc certificate. Even with MSc, so far you have a Polytechnic background, you are denied license. How true is that?
No. I don't think, who is denying them? I don't think anybody is denying anybody. I mean, if you go to school and you have a proper certificate, your institution is accredited and you have the qualification, nobody's going to deny you. The only thing that, like I said, there's a path that's been created by Alcon for you to get license, like for the licensure. That is all. Nobody's denying them. Nobody's doing that. No. It's not correct. Everybody who has gone through an accredited institution and gotten its qualification is recognized as if I read architecture, I'm recognized as I have an HND architecture. You have a recognition architecture. Let me tell you something. Do you know when I was doing my professional exams, one of the person that taught us, one of the that taught us was an HND graduate, and he was so good at contract management. At study 301, I can't remember again. He was so, in fact, he was so good. I said, I mean, how did this guy know these things? Very, very good. Now you cannot say, because he has a handy, therefore he's not. No. It doesn't work. He knows it very well. And then anybody who you're trying to hire somebody who's going to run your project for you, you will run for him and go and pick him because he knows it very well. He will run your project perfectly well. You understand? So what I'm still saying is, and we didn't say, because he doesn't have, MSc or PhD, we're only going to listen to him. No. Even the people who we are bringing, in fact, you can even learn from people for architecture, people who are not even architects. Not to talk of people who are architects, You just want how you improve yourself, But like I said, there are stratas there are strata in the profession. And then we don't want to, you see, we're having problems with the building industry I'm not talking about architects, but even the artisans, the plumbers, the tilers, in Nigeria now, because nobody wants to do it anymore. And you say it's mean. It's not menial. Because in some projects, in some projects where at the end of the day, the person who did the carpentry work earns more than the architect. At the end, before the end of the project, he would have earned much more than the architect who even is the organ. Because he knows it. It's a skill. And his skill he knows. So that's how it is. And so it can be the electrician, it can be it can be the plumber, it can be anybody within the chain. We don't have to, everybody doesn't have to be the designer. We have to make sure that every strata of the value chain is populated. And that's why I'm just scared that people don't want to, you're despising that HND. You shouldn't despise it. What of OND? That's OND too. We forget. So if HND is despising, what of OND? There's something an OND person needs to do. There's things the HND person needs to, but you can't have that place blank. It's not, it's not, and maybe the way the country is not encouraging the technical aspect of our lives. I don't know why we have to leave it blank, and everybody is going to be the dreamer. No, it doesn't work like that. The society will be disjointed, and the profession will be disjointed too. So that's my personal opinion.
Okay.
And I still stand to be corrected, because where the practice is booming, you know, every strata is populated, is working. You know, if you enter a proper architect's office, you know, you have people who are doing the dreaming, you have people who are doing the presentation, who are doing the marketing, you have people who are doing the contract administration, you have people who are doing the detailing, you know. So, and they're all different, there are different aspects of this same profession which we have. And there are specialists in them. And there are courses for them to keep improving, you know. Everybody doesn't have to be the dreamer.
So the next question is, since you've given answers to this question so far on how one could be a registered architect through the Polytechnic sector, then on the general basics, how can one become a fully registered architect in Nigeria today?
Okay. You know, our act, the act establishing the act establishing the act for architecture and establishing our professional supervisors has said that we can only get our licensure when we take a PPA exam. So what we're just waiting for now, right now, excuse me, because every other thing, all those things, all those ad hoc routes have been jettisoned. Let me just tell you the truth now. And we are reverting back to what we used to do, that was the PPE. And so once the board is constituted, the first thing is that you have a backlog of in the range of thousands people who are going to take this exam. And so that is what is happening now. I'm sure. So what we're just waiting for now is to reconstitute the body. And you know, once it, I mean, I know immediately after this for political, it will be reconstituted, and then the exams will take place. The exams are going to be normal ACON NIA done together exam, the way it is in the Act establishing the profession in Nigeria. So it is about now who qualifies to take the exam, which ACON has already outlined who qualifies to take the exam. You've graduated, accredited institution, and you've done your tutelage for about 2 years. Then you qualify to take the exam.
Okay. Literally, you're saying after your BSc, MSc, then pupillage of 2 years, including NYSC.
Exactly.
Then you can now be eligible to write the exam.
Yes, please.
Okay. Then another question is, since ACON began her APCE, will NIA PPE be eradicated, or is the profession looking for a better way to mitigate the two?
I tell you that the profession passed through a period where they had a lot of hiccups. You know, in medicine, hiccups just disturbs everything. And those hiccups are over now. So these things that were popping up, all those ad hoc, those were, I call them ad hoc, the exams, ad hoc routes, you know, trying to get different routes to the same thing. But now all those things are going to be jettisoned. And we're going to go back to what we used to do, which is to take the PPE and then get your qualification. So that's why even the APCs, the ones that have not been done, those things are now suspended indefinitely because ACON and NIA are going to have resumed the cooperation they had to do the exam properly.
Then, sir, someone asked, good day, my name is Wenceslas. I'm an MSc graduate of Ibo State University, really. My question goes like this. So with regards to the membership registration, students, graduates, associates, while still in school, my set did the registrations both as a student and as a graduate. But up till this moment, we haven't gotten any feedback to that effect. What do we do?
That's really unfortunate. You know, the lacunas that were existed at that time, I'm sure those things are going to be, we know that things like that happen. And that's why we encourage the students to have relationship with the chapters where they do in their domain, the NIA chapters in their domain, to have a relationship with them, because these questions would have been easily answered by them. But like I said earlier on, we are going fully digital. There won't be any need for all the paperworks, or fill this form, send your passport, get this man sign it, let that woman sign it. You just go online, fill the forms, and then it will go naturally to, if you're a student, to your HOD, to accredit, to, you know, certify, and whoever is supposed to, you know, everything you fill on the form will be done online. If it's supposed to come to me, if you put me as somebody who is going to be a referee, or I'm going to be, you know, it will simply, it just moves to me, and I will look at it. If Rose Chigozie is okay, that's Rose Chigozie, okay, and I endorse, and it goes back. So everything happens online. That is our next level now, and it's make it very easy for everybody to be properly registered and, you know, accounted for. You understand? And then, of course, once you enter the data, you enter the database, you're there for life until you decide to take yourself out, you know, for whatever reason. And so that's easy. And we can always refer, we can always go back to the data and just check whatever it is. You're going to keep filling forms. You're going to keep updating, upgrading. One day you want to become a fellow, you want to run for president. You know, you don't have to go and start asking, is it true that he went there? Well, no. Everything's already in the database in the secretariat. So that is where that's the next level now. And then the portal is practically ready. You can see that portal is already, people already using the portal now, and they see how seamless it is. You know, things are happening at NIA now. You know, the portal is there, but I think it's going to be extended to this registration of even students. So on your phone, your laptop, you don't need to know anybody. If you're a student of a school, it's easy for you, because if it will come, maybe to go straight to your HOD or whoever, you just look, okay, he's a student of here. That's all, and you'll be registered. You get your number, you get your identity, and so that's how it is. So I will apologize on behalf of the institute to the persons, you know, who had a problem of registration. We're going to pass that. It's going to be very much easier for you. In our own days, it was the same thing. We filled forms and we were not until we, you know, so it's happened like that. And but that, like I said, that era is gone. You know, the new era now will make it easy for everybody to become fully registered. Easy.
That would be better, because since the world is going digital now, so it wouldn't be bad for the profession to queue in as well.
The profession is already digital. In fact, right now, that's why I said with the secretariat is going paperless. Okay. We've already started we've been doing this since last year. And if you're doing something with the secretary, it's that you don't have to go and pick forms anywhere and fill. In fact, it got to a point where even your dues, everything what you're owing, you know, it's just a fantastic.
Directly on the NIA website, or there's a separate link for it?
Yes, it's on the website. And then, you know, like I said, you if you're a member of if you're already registered, you have a dashboard. You have your dashboard. You register with your My NIA. In fact, as you are now, if you have not done that, you need to do that. You know, and create your own dashboard where you can access any information you need, So like we're already doing that. We're already doing that. So just for everybody to come on board. Yes. Yes.
Thank you so much, sir. Then another
Thank you.
question is, my question is regarding the discrimination in the body of architecture between the HND holders and BS. What is NIA doing in order to regularize this discrimination?
I don't know where the discrimination is. It in terms of is it appointments, or I don't know where, but that word discrimination is needs to be qualified for me to respond very well. Okay. The thing about it is BSc is not the same thing as HND, period. And then in the civil service or in the MDAs, they have a salary structure, different salary structures for them. That's just so if it's for that, yes, there's different salary structure for them. So it's not about this discrimination because this person has an HND and this person has a BSc. It's not the same thing.
Okay.
So, you understand? If the people who are now hiring decide to pay them put them on the same level, that's okay by them. Nobody is going to say, don't put them on the same level. No, it is the man who is hiring now decides how he's going to, but they are different. HND is different from BSc. And that is why, like I said earlier, even the entry qualifications for them, they're all different. The entry qualification for the person who is going to do HND is different from the entry qualification of the person who is going to do BSc. Okay. And I'm sure even the JAM scores are different, So they're all different and the qualifications are all different. Yeah. But if the person who has an HND wants to be recognized as a person, he has to get a BSc. Unless now it is now the firm. Like I said, if it is stratified, the MDAs, yes, you can say they have a stratified salary structure. But for private firms who need hands, who need people who are competent, they're not really interested in whether you have BSc or MSc. If you have BSc and you cannot perform in the office, or you can't perform on the side, nobody's going to look at you. So they'll prefer to take the person who is useful to the firm. And that's what I'm saying. So, and if you have your HND and you're very good, you did your HND, you do well, and you're very good, you are more likely to get a job before the person who has a BSc or BSc, yes, or to be engaged earlier than person, because you know what you're doing. There's no discrimination. I don't like to use that word because even by spelling, if you spell this one is HND, it's different. This one is B. They're different. They're different. Different curriculum. Yes, please.
I think maybe is it that the students or those who get admission into the Polytechnic, maybe they are not aware or they were not given information or prior information about the requirements or what this aspect of architecture is limited to.
Probably they didn't know that before they entered the school, but like I said, a polytechnic is a polytechnic. And polytechnics are very, very important. Their rules, you can't duplicate it. You can't have the rules in the university. The university cannot create the rule. In fact, what happens in abroad is that some of the polytechnics are now affiliated to some universities, just to keep standards and keep. But a polytechnic is a polytechnic, and the university is a university. And the qualifications you get from a polytechnic, whether it's engineering, whether it's whatever course it is the qualification for a polytechnic. The qualification you get from a university is the qualification for a university graduate. They're not the same. They can't. Yeah, you come out as graduates. Yes, you do an NYSC together. Yes, but you're not. One has an MSc and one has an HND. And the one who has an HND, might just be very sharp, might just be the person I need in my firm, and I don't need the guy who has a BSc. And that's how it is in the world. But when you go to, I keep on saying, when you go to institutions or outfits that have stratified stratified salary structure or career structure, then you'll be saying, okay, the HND will start at this salary level, and this one start at no. Well, not in private, not outside. You get my point? So let them not feel bad that they have an HND. It's a stepping. In fact, when the person that has an HND goes and does a BSc, he or she normally comes out better than the BSc person, because there are some aspects that he or she knows, a lot of things that he knows that the BSc person will not know. Yeah.
Okay.
But they're different.
Thank you, sir. Another person asked, as a graduate of architecture technology, what are the NIA providing as a measure to ease learning for aspiring graduates of HND to become a full registered professional? Because only registered architects have the legal rights to practice. And nowadays, graduates from Polytechnic find it hard to get admissions into university through direct entry qualifications, as these schools only admit based on high merit.
Well, you see, like I said, institutions set their standards. So if the institution says, for me to admit you, you must have high merit, then you can have the high merit. But the thing about it that the ACON has said, and ACON is the governing body, it's a supervising, it says for you to get registration, get a BSc. And so it might be difficult, actually more difficult to get into certain institutions than the others. Definitely, because like I said, everybody has their own standards of catchment areas or areas of specialization. So that I cannot say anyone is wrong or right. But the thing about it that if you have an HND, you go get a BSc. That's it. And people are doing it. If there are one or two courses that has dropped your GPA or you don't have a merit, you can go and repeat it, and do it, and then get merit enough for you to get direct entry into the university, and then finish it up, and you're good to go. So there's universities also, like I said, have their own standards. And then, whichever one you want to go to, maybe some have, because of the pedigree some universities have, they'll say, okay, they won't take, some will even say they won't take direct entry. Some will even say they won't do that, you know what I'm saying? And so that one, it's the university, is not it's not neither, it's now the university policy. So, but for whatever it is, whoever wants to further, normally you make sure you get good grades so that it's easier for you to step up. And you don't have to do too much begging. Your paper speaks for you, and then of course there might be some interviews. Just prepare for like you're preparing for an exam, and then you get but that path is still that path. The BSc, the HND to do BSc, to do MSc, and then you get your qualifications, get your licenses now.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Then another question is, if HND has become almost useless in the NIA profession, why don't they scrap it off Polytechnic? At least we have some courses that are not in the Polytechnic, for example, law, medicine, etc. Why not remove architecture from the Polytechnic as well? So prospective students won't waste their time, money, and resources. Thanks. From another person.
Well, yeah. Like I said, it is not useless. I don't agree with the question that says HND has become useless. It has not become useless. So the whole value chain for architecture, there are there are different aspects that are specialists, and the training allows you to, the training program allows you to fit into these niches. And so you cannot want everybody to become, just like say everybody in the medical profession has to become a doctor. It's not going to work, So, and then if you're going in as a medical laboratory scientist, it doesn't mean that you're going to be a pauper. It means that they're going to start you at certain, you know where you're going to start you, but your importance in the profession, in delivery chain, is, in fact, at the point you will be earning as much as the doctor because of you've taken the exams, you got your importance, in fact, in your institution. Use that word. And that's how it is, even in engineering, you know. It's not just that engineer, the one up. No. There are some of the ones that there are some welders. There are some welders who are earning almost twice what the engineers earn. Welders, maybe they are doing underwater welding. Now, if you say, go and learn welding, no, I need to do real engineering. But welding, I'm just not welding, just one aspect of mechanical engineering, one small aspect. And you're doing underwater welding, for instance, you understand? You're going underwater to where you're working on your ship, you're working on piers, you're working on this welding. So the point I'm making, and they're important for the whole chain to work. And that's how it is in architecture too. So I don't like to hear when people say, HND has become useless. No, it is not. It's because if you want to do, okay, to start with, I think a lot of people have not defined architecture properly, and so if we say architecture, the meeting point of art and technology, it means that, okay, somebody maybe at the apex has a lens knows about art and technology at that level. But then somebody in the technology can be so good at something in technology. Maybe I say writing programs for production. He doesn't have to be attained to be at the top, but wherever he is, he's so important that the person at the top cannot function without him. You cannot take yourself out of the equation because you are not up there. No. And then you're going to end there, and then you might even have better peace of mind where you are, So it's things about prestige, and even in this thing about prestige, who even determines who is prestigious? Those, that's another thing. So you decide how you make yourself prestigious, because if it's not knowing what to do, if you're not knowing your job, I'm an architect, I got a BSc, and you're not doing well, how do you reconcile that with prestige? Or I have an office, I employ only architects, and I cannot run a project successfully because I have only MSc. It doesn't work. You know what I'm saying? How when you're saying, because I'm running a prestigious office, I only employ MSc, I don't want to employ people who are even BSc. And your office cannot run a project successfully. So how do you reconcile that with reality? Because in that office, you need the entire strata to be able to work. Akon is, toying with the idea of even scrapping the profession in polytechnics. What I just envisage is that it will be introduced in a different way. Maybe it won't be called architecture, but that aspect must be. You can't have a firm without having those people. You can't have a project without having that sector. You cannot. But because we are so concerned about prestige, we're so concerned about maybe people who, like you said, people who entered that didn't know that entering for as HND, they didn't know, they thought they were going to be at the same. No. Okay, so from now we know that if you're entering for this is your qualification. This is where you're going to come out. How you're going to come out. This is how you're going to be regarded in the society. So I know that they're going to do that. I know that there are plans to do that. Let me say they're going to do that. There are plans to do that, plans to scrap it from polytechnics. And then, so what we were just asking was whether to give them a moratorium so that people who are already there, or people who have already come out, will be able to get their this thing before you scrap it completely, So that's it.
Okay. Then another asks, what are the biggest challenges and attraction for this job?
Challenges and attraction. Well, the first one I've told you is about the the economy. When a place is prosperous, architecture is used to show prosperity. Architecture, a definition of say architecture is for nobility. It is when you have money that you begin to look for an architect. If you need shelter now, as between you and I, you just go to, I mean, in the villages, they have houses. In the rural area, they have houses they are living in, and most of them were not done by architects. So architects begin to come in when you want to start living, when you have satisfied basic physiological needs, and you now want to, just like you wear your clothes, before you begin to go and buy Gucci, you will just buy anyone. I mean, you want to cover my nakedness until you get to a point where, no, I need to go to the fashion designer, not tell you anymore, fashion designer to make your clothes peculiar to you, So that's how architecture is. And so most architecture goes with affluence. It is the affluent societies that actually patronize the architects. In the world today, is the affluent countries. Those countries, they want to show that they've arrived. So you see architects thriving there. So you see China, you see Taiwan, you see in the Arab Gulf, in the Gulf states, and so on and so forth. That is one. Another one is technology. Technology has blurred the lines. The traditional lines that separated professions. There used to be sharp lines between architecture and maybe engineering, or maybe, those lines are not there anymore. They are blurred now. Why? Because of technology. Now with AI, somebody doesn't need to read architecture. If he knows how to, manipulate his devices, he can make inputs, and then solutions will come out. And so those things are being, even though you may not be able to make informed inputs because he's not trained, but what the hell? People are now being able to make inputs, and AI decides, gives them alternatives, and they choose. What AI, artificial intelligence. And then you even print the buildings. You don't even need to go to site. You don't need to get messing. You don't need to get it. Just take it to site. Just sets it out and prints the building it for you. Now that is what is I think that the challenges we are having. So it means that everybody has to become tech savvy. You have to become tech savvy, and then you'll be able to embrace technology. So you'll be able to you stay abreast. The human aspect, machines cannot do it. Machines cannot determine how you feel. Machines cannot determine, even if you make inputs, you have to give out all that, but it can't really determine, because when you're talking with somebody, there's something human about it. And that human aspect cannot be taken out. And that is where we still come in. And that's why the training, despite the advances in technology, you still need the human inputs into it for it to be a successful project. You're dealing with feelings. You're dealing with I want to create. You want to create. How do you make people feel? How do you want to? How do you change people's mood? And so on and so forth. You can say I can input some these things into the, but it's not the same as when the human being sits down and analyzes it. So those are the things, those are the problems, well, the challenges. And it's not just in architecture, it's in every profession now. It's so bad that you make inputs. If you have a case, I can even give you suggestions on what to this aspect of the law that will help you, what you don't need to do, what you need to do. That's how technology has encroached. The same thing with medicine. I feel like this, you impute your symptoms, and then it gives you alternatives, and then you choose and choose and choose until it prescribes some drugs for you. So it has just is affecting the world, and it's going to everything is going to be recalibrated. Everything, even this profession that we're calling architecture, the way I look at it, even this profession we're calling architecture as it is today, I don't think it's going to be the same way in 30 years time, 40 years time. It's going to be will be different. Just a little bit different. Just like photography. Photography, people used to have to maybe even get the helicopter to take aerial views. You have to be a professional, get the camera, you have to be able to know how to, No, it's not the same anymore. You can just sit down. A small boy who doesn't even know anything about camera works will just be able to sit down and control the zoom camera, and it flies up and takes. So things are changing. The surveyor, the same thing. You don't have to enter the bush and spend weeks in the bush trying to map and map and map and map. So the way that's how it's also affecting us. It's affecting everybody. And the only thing I can just say that we should all embrace technology, be up to date, and we'll see and enjoy the profession.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yep.
Then the next question is, someone asks, what will be the effect of the rift between NIA and ACON on student architects?
Like I said, the rift, it's if you look at the backlog that hiccup affected so many things, including accreditation of schools, everything. So it's not just students, even with people in practice, it's affected the profession drastically. And everybody's aware of it. And that hiccup has stopped. And everybody's going to go back and recalibrate itself. All of us recalibrate the profession. So it has affected us. Not that how will it affect it? Well, it's not going to continue. That rift is dead. It's already gone. We've taken care of that. Like I said, what we just need now is for the minister to inaugurate the board. There were some hiccups in inaugurating the board, but I know that's going to come on board. Happen very soon. When the minister inaugurates the board, the normal processes will start again, right from the universities to the field, to the practice. So I'm very sure this is the position.
So to wrap up this video session, do you have any questions bothering you about the NIA, ACON, architecture and architectural practice in general in Nigeria? I'll leave a link in the description of this video so as to enable you ask your questions. Don't forget to subscribe so that you get notified when the questions have been answered by architects and when I upload the next video. And finally, share this video to your friends so that more people can be informed and send in their questions. We can all learn from one another. Thank you so much. Thank you for watching. I hope this was informative. Thank you. See you next time.